All this GXCC racing action is powered by Black Iron and brought to you by their associate sponsors. At the GXCCs, our support classes make up more than half the gate at a lot of the events, and for the first time in 2020, they get their very own show. We'll focus in on our OR1 Pro-Ams, OR2 Pro-Ams, the 3s, the Ladies Pro-Ams, and the WOWs, as well as our new Pee-wee 50 and 80 junior classes. The first gate was going to be the stacked lineup of the Pro-Am OR1s, which gave us, actually on the day, the biggest entry on the queue. Off the gate, it was Jaco Jansen van Rensburg that cleared the gate early. Everyone else doing the chase down. Cole Neighbor of the Rubine Racing Squad did a good enough job on the big 450 to get himself up inside of the top 10. A multi-talented rider on the Rubine Racing Squad and the older brother of 4 siblings. He was going to be the man to watch as he looked to improve on the tour as we move forward into the rest of the championship season. Derek Hardy was the first of the single digits as well. The C3 rider did a great job. Not a bad gate as well to get himself up there and was busy on the track. In these Pro-Am gates, you're always going to have someone to play with and someone to ride with. It was a number 9 spot for Hardy. Etienne Kralin made light work of his gate as well, and to break away from the rest of the chasing pack, it was well over 20 riders in the queue, and the C160 climbed the ladder up inside of a top 8 and put together some very respectable lap times along the way. Stefan van der Heever was one of the many entries coming in for the Yamaha squad as well. Clearly comfortable catching a little bit of air along the whoop-to-do sections and carrying tons of momentum through the water splashes. He did a nice job, just one step off the box. Remember, it's the top 6 that score the podiums. 7th place, though, was Stefan van der Heever, getting it done. Rudy Pretorius is one of those riders that we love to watch ripping it apart the whole way around the track. The 403 got himself the position of the first of the podium spots, and that was the coveted number 6, just off the back wheel of Nick Wells, who he diced with most of the day. Nick Wells, who's going to be racing the GXCC Tour with us in 2020, has made a name for himself racing the Farm Jams and was always going to be a podium threat at those events and the GXCCs. Nick makes the big step up onto the Factory Vans Racing Squad for 2020 and brought the C195 Husky to a magical top 5. It was the Rooster, one of the Pro-Am riders that's been on the gate for many years. Definitely has the pace, skills, and ability to be able to run up into the pro ranks, but decided to stay down for another season on the Pro-Ams. Rooster, Rudy Vieira, gets a magical top 4, trying to chase his way inside of the top 3. The man that was first onto the box then was Dennis van der Merwe. The C328 rider looked extremely comfortable. Awesome riding position on his Husqvarna, and looks like he is going to be a big threat to watch out for as we go through the rest of the tour. Remember, it is going to be an 8-round championship season for the pros as well as the Pro-Am support categories on the 2020 tour. For Henry Pretorius, we caught him in the pits. Remember, these guys were on for a predicted 4-lap race distance. Henry Pretorius did a cracker of a job. He was inside of that top 5 as the riders went out the gate, and that set himself up nicely to go ahead and chase down a strong result. Most of these Pro-Am riders, it is either their first or second time racing on the GXCC Tour, so start gates and the coveted hole shot definitely set yourself up well. The 79 of Henry Pretorius was just off the top step in a number 2. It was whole shot city and clear air, at least for lap number 1, until he got into lap traffic, and that was Jaco Jansen van Rensburg. He pulled the pin, got the whole shot, got the clear laps in the early stages of the race, and set himself up well to lock in that rhythm and walk away with the win. Henry Pretorius came on strong towards the end of the race, but all the damage was done in laps 1 and 2, and the first victor of the season in the OR1 stacked Pro-Am gate went to Jaco Jansen van Rensburg. And here's confirmation of those results. Next gate would be our OR2 Pro-Ams, where we had a new factory signing for Black Iron Racing. Alex Shearer dropped the pin and got the whole shot. He was going to be the man to chase in the early laps. That would be the last time we saw Shearer, unfortunately, as he bowed out early on lap 1 with mechanical issues. Cornet Swart made his way inside the top 10, chasing down on a good pal of mine, Andrew Beeston, now making the full swap over. Used to be on the Kawasaki's, mixing up GXCCs and motocross this season, getting a 350 and rocking his way to a number 9 spot. KG Free on the C614 was a little bit loose through the wetland sections, but good enough on the high-speed flatlands to be able to just make his way inside of that top 8. He had a busy day as well, in a lot of traffic, and he had to make big passes and brave moves to get the job done. Miguel da Silva had a bit of a scrappy run, getting a bit crossed up in some of the more technical parts, but you can see he'd already been down the road, and even though he had literally his clutch hanging off his bike, he still got the job done and scored points for a number 7 finish. He's expected to be a top 3 runner at each of the future rounds. Elaine DeToy, who is now being picked up by the Biker Warehouse Husqvarna squad, has made the switch over in the off-season from the Smoker to the Thumper. Elaine did a great job to be the first of the podium placings, getting that coveted number 6 finish. And his mentor, Wayne Farmer, will have been stoked with that ride and push him harder to climb the ladder up inside the top 5 come the next round. It was Russell Van Gool that climbed up the ladder inside of that number 5. He had that classic Shift racing kit on, easy to spot on the track and easy for all of his competitors to see who was coming or who was going out into the distance. Van Gool grabbed the magical top 5. Dean Besson was all kinds of action through the Supercross section at the bottom end of the track, just below the exit of the pits, and did a nice enough job to stay clear of the rest of the chasing pack. He gated outside of the top 10 and was able to make some passes on laps 1 and 2 to get up inside of a top 4, just one position off the magical top 3. Lincoln Lutz was looking way too factory to be sitting down in the Pro-Am gates, but it is all about learning, experience, and getting that mileage on the legs, the tank, and the bike. One of the younger riders on the gate as well. He gelled perfectly with the terrain, a mixture of technical rocks, flat out high speed, and a little bit of marshland as well. The 550 Lincoln Lutz is definitely all show and a factory superstar of the future to watch out for. Dejan van der Merwe is one of the late season pickups for the CIT Factory Husky squad. Very little experience, but one of those riders that's been taken under the wing of Weinhard Delport and Harry Krobler, and a rider that is definitely going to show improvement skills and will be looking for his first win as we go forward into the rest of the season. He was one place off the box this time with a 2 spot. It was Jean Neighbor of the Rubine Racing squad that did the miracle run. Didn't get the whole shot, but did manage to get the numbers going on the C911 and give Rubine Racing their first victory of the season. The OR3 Pro-Ams in old money, the original 200cc gate, gave us a busy one as well, and it was one of the old names from last season, Francois Van Heerden, that took the cheese and grabbed the whole shot to try and run away with this one. Out on track, it was Bertus Becker that actually miracled an old IT, I think 175, all the way inside of a top 10 and took the tag as the oldest machine out there. First of the single digits was Arno Brudrick. Number 9 finish for Arno as he chased down on Ben Jordan on the C97. Remember, these were the third gates out of the Pro-Am lineup, so they were going to be sucking dust early, and it was very hard to find a little bit of elbow room, certainly on laps 1 and 2. Butter Hennings on the 458 did a great job to get himself up there, but he also had a very busy first couple of laps as he tried to find the route and figure out how to make those passes on the track. Dean Ferry on the C763 made it up onto the box, the first of the podium places, grabbing the magical number 6. He was dicing in the early laps at least with Francois Van Heerden, the man that walked away with the whole shot but couldn't hang on to it. He did, though, walk away with a number 5. Whole shots can certainly set yourself up well for the rest of the day, but you still need to be able to grab, rip, and haul on that throttle. Nathan Godrich, who's been a podium placer for the last couple of seasons and one of the stalwarts of the OR3 Pro-Am gate, got himself up into a number 4. Whole shots will certainly set up a win in the future for Nathan. For now, 4 was some great points to build on as he goes forward into the rest of the 7 rounds that remain on the championship tour. Brendan Berger on the 253 was also right there in the mix. In fact, him and Godrich were locked in a battle for most of the day, and he did eventually walk away and beat his stablemate and partner on the track to tag a number 3 finish. James Clanhams, who's also been picked up by the Black Iron Racing squad, showed some true grit and incredible form to miracle his way up into a number 2 spot. A lot of pre-season signings for Black Iron Racing, trying to dominate on a lot of the categories. And they certainly walked away with some cheese at round number 1. Clanhams grabs a rock and roll number 2 finish, but he couldn't get the win out of the hands of Bradley Norkier. The style of the Yamaha man on the C822 was just too good. Elbows up, shoulders forward, hard on the gas. Norkier walks away with his first win of 2020, taking the gate in the OR3 Pro-Am men. The WOW men, that's the day license racers, were next off the gate, and it was cool to see Clinton Whitehead, who's become a multi-talented rider the last couple of seasons, swing a leg and come GXCC racing once again. On whose bike? The Busman. Busman giving him his 300 smoker, and it delivered the goods. It would, however, be short-lived as he eventually walked away with an 11th place finish, just dropping outside the magical top 10. It was Justin Boniface on the X725 that walked away with that honour, so he gets a little bit of TV coverage for that, and that's what a lot of guys are going to be racing for from here on out. Dale Nieuwenhout did a great job to be the first of the single digits. Comfortable riding style, and certainly the dry terrain at Bronkhorstspruit suited his power delivery. Jared van der Merwe was incredibly stylish through the mud drops, and obviously a rider who has worked on his style in the off-season and comfortable with his machine. Another one of many of the Yamahas on this gate. Jared clicked to top 8. Donovan Bussoff was just up the road as well in the 7th. We'll call that position on the bubble. Number 7 is just off the box with our top 6 scoring podium placings. The first of our true podiums went to the number C, 244 of Lawrence Lombard. He was busy off the gate as well. He gated inside of the top 10 and managed to climb his way through the traffic throughout his race format to tag a number 6 finish and be the first of the podiums. Nordia Durant was all show as well as he found his groove. Remember, all of the Pro-Ams were racing the exact same track as the Pro category, and that was a combination of the 35-kilometer quad loop as well as the 15k junior loop. Lap 1 was all about learning the track, and from then on, the majority of the Pro-Ams went out and completed a 3-lap racing format. The big 1000 of Georgie Cronier was an easy ride at a spot with that incredible number board. The W1000 walked away with a number 4 finish. Also a rider that gated inside of the top 10, setting himself well up to go and chase down on the podium. I think we're going to see the 1000 climb up the ladder and probably take a top 3 at some point in this season. Tian Viviers, who's also been a podium placer in the last couple of seasons racing on the GXCC tours. If he kept his hands on the bars, he may have raced a little bit higher up the queue. 3rd place, though, was a good enough run. Jason van der Merwe on the W53, the Yamaha man, took a number 2 spot. It was a very strong gate that put him in that position as well, as he was able to walk away with a ton of championship points, and he's going to be one of those 3 riders to watch as we go forward into the rest of the tour. 2nd place off round number 1 is a great building block for the championship. The win, though, went to Xander van Groningen. A name that is difficult for me to pronounce, but I'm going to get used to it as well, because you can just see from the riding style and the pace that he is going to be a man to watch on the tour. '20 also gave us a new gate on the GXCC tour for the first time ever. It was the ladies' Pro-Ams, meaning that the ladies didn't have to line up with the pros. They could go out and do their own race and be scored accordingly. The first hole shot of the season went to our very own Stephanie Swart. Abby would eventually drop down and finish a number 8 after a short run on the track. But still, great to see the ladies that were formerly known as the Pink Ladies, an initiative that ran for the last couple of seasons and put us forward into a situation we could go and give them their own gate. Mercia Blake did a great job as well to eventually walk away with a number 7 finish. A lot of our ladies, first timers out racing with us on the GXCC tour. Chantal Petersen, a name we know very well. Great to see her back at almost full health as well and running a number 6 ride. That puts her onto the box. Cassandra Swart was out there on one of the old KDXs. Cool to see Cassandra walking away with a top 5 finish as she was out there just missioning around on one of the old farm bikes, but with support from Black Iron Racing. Again, a lot of these ladies, first timers out onto full race conditions. So good to see them just get used to it, get comfortable, and have a great time on the day. We'd love to see more ladies on the Ladies Pro-Am Gate as we move forward around the rest of the GXCC season. As we move forward, you could see a little bit more riding experience coming out of the ladies. Number 4 finish on the day by one of the smaller capacity, I think it was a Honda 230, Tracy Hardy. Didn't let horsepower slow her down though. She still got away with a number 4 finish. Crizanne Pretorius has shown good form in the past as well, and one of the few ladies that was desperate to get the Pro-Am Ladies Gate lined up and entered. She didn't have to race with the pros, which meant she could go out and race her own race at her own pace, on her own terms, and it gave her a rock-solid number 3 ride on the day. Danielle Kotzer was next up the road as well. Danielle, one of the few ladies racing on the smokers as well. She unfortunately took a dive late on in the race as well and would eventually walk away with a cracked wrist. But we know we're going to see her back on the gate as we go forward around the country. An aggressive rider, one of the smaller riders out there, but style for miles. Number 2 spot with a big crash. Respect. The win, though, went down to our very own Stephanie Swart. She swung a leg just one season ago on the Pink Ladies Initiative. She didn't get the whole shot that she wanted, but she did run strong pace on the Moto Pro to get the job done. The 373 of Stephanie Swart is here, and the lady to beat on the Ladies Pro-Am Gate. Congrats, Stephanie. Another new initiative for GXCC Tour in 2020 was the introduction of our junior support classes, that being the Pee Wee 50s and Pee Wee 80s. Not quite big enough or old enough to go out and race with the kids on the 50cc's, and pretty much most of them first timers on the gate. They were able to go out for a 1-hour racing format on a 15k loop, which gave the majority of races a 1-lap racing format, and some of the bigger kids 2 laps on the gate. It was great to see them coming, and I do believe we're going to see more riders on the gate as we move forward with the tour. Here's confirmation of those results. Do remember to subscribe and keep an eye on our channel as we feed more of our uncut and sometimes raw footage from the GXCCs, so you guys can keep an eye on what you did right and sometimes what your competition did wrong. Stay tuned as we bring you more of the action. We'll keep it pumping. You just keep watching. This GXCC racing action was powered by Black Iron and brought to you by their associate sponsors.